Have you ever just looked around at the world, at your job, maybe even at people in charge, and just thought to yourself, why? Why does it feel like stupidity is everywhere? And not just existing, but thriving? Well, it turns out there are some pretty deep and frankly uncomfortable answers to that question. So let's get into it. I mean, you'd think, right? In this competitive world, something as unhelpful as stupidity would have been, weeded out by now. So why does it feel like smart, thoughtful people are so often outnumbered? It's a real puzzle, both biologically and socially.
And hey, we're not the first to wonder about this. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer was obsessed with this question. He spent his life trying to figure it out, and his conclusion was, well, it was a big one. He basically realized that the persistence of stupidity is no accident at all.
And this is the core idea, the thing that changes everything. According to Schopenhauer, stupidity isn't some flaw in the system. It's a feature. It's actually useful, it's profitable, and it's even essential for keeping certain social structures going. And because it's so useful, our systems don't just put up with it. They actively protect it, they reward it, and they make sure it keeps getting passed on.
Okay, so to really get how this works, we have to start at the most basic level, our own bodies. The number one reason stupidity sticks around is because, believe it or not, thinking is incredibly expensive. Just look at this. It's kind of nuts when you see it laid out. Your brain is this tiny little part of your overall body weight, right? But the amount of energy it eats up is just gigantic.
A full 20%. 1/5 of every single calorie you eat in a day goes to power that little 3-pound organ. And most of that fuel is for the hard stuff: critical thinking, problem solving, abstract reasoning. Biologically speaking, thinking is just hard work. And this has real evolutionary consequences. Just picture our ancient ancestors. You've got one guy spending all his energy philosophizing about the best way to hunt. And then you've got another guy who just does what everyone else is doing. Who do you think survives and passes on their genes? Yeah, the energy-efficient follower. Natural selection didn't really favor the deep thinker. It favored the one who took the path of least resistance. In a way, stupidity is just a biological energy-saving mode. And this is not a new thing. Over 2,000 years ago, Socrates went around and discovered that most people's so-called knowledge was just a bunch of opinions they'd heard and repeated, but never actually thought about. And when he pointed this out, when he forced them to do the hard work of thinking, they didn't thank him for it. They killed him. It turns out people would rather stick with a comfortable lie than do the energy-intensive work of finding the truth. So this natural tendency to avoid difficult thinking doesn't just stay inside our own heads. It scales up to the group. It stops being just about saving our own energy and starts being about surviving within the tribe. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche really nailed this with his whole idea of herd mentality. He saw that to truly belong, to be part of the group, we often have to give up a piece of our own individual mind. Because, independent thought leads to disagreement, and disagreement is a threat to the harmony of the group.
And our social systems are totally set up to reinforce this. Think about it. In any workplace or group, someone who questions the way things are done, they're seen as negative or disruptive. Someone who thinks deeply about a problem, they're just overthinking. But the person who just agrees and goes along with the flow, now they're a team player. The herd rewards conformity because it's stable and predictable. And what's the easiest way to conform? Don't think too hard.
Now here's where it gets really weird. Real intelligence often comes with a whole lot of self-doubt. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. Stupidity, though, it has none of that baggage. It's blissfully confident. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. The least competent people are often the most sure of themselves. And what does our society just love to reward? Confidence. We constantly mistake it for competence. So the thoughtless but certain person often climbs the ladder way faster than the brilliant but hesitant one. All right, let's zoom out even further. We've seen how biology makes us lazy thinkers and how society rewards us for it. Now, let's look at how systems of power don't just benefit from this, they actively depend on it. The political theorist Hannah Arendt had this chilling realization while watching the trials of Nazi officers after World War II. She saw that these weren't all foaming-at-the-mouth monsters. Many were just bureaucrats, ordinary people who had simply stopped thinking. They followed orders. They did their jobs. They never once stopped to ask, wait, should I be doing this? Her conclusion was that true evil isn't born from malice, but from a refusal to think. Obedience requires you to turn off your brain. This is exactly why thoughtlessness is so valuable to people who want control.
The crowd psychologist Gustave Le Bon figured out you don't need facts or logic to control a crowd. All you need is this simple emotional playbook. But here's the catch. It only works on people who aren't thinking critically. The second somebody asks for evidence or questions the simple story, the whole thing falls apart. A thinking population is hard to govern. A stupid population is a ruler's dream.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, when you piece together the biology, the sociology, and the politics, you start to see this powerful, self-perpetuating cycle take shape. So let's wrap it all up. Stupidity isn't a mistake. It's a stable working system. It's energy efficient for our bodies. It's rewarded by our social groups. It's absolutely required by power structures that need obedience. And it even reproduces more effectively. This is why it persists. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
So what are you supposed to do with this kind of depressing information? Well, the first step is to accept a really tough truth. You are not going to get rid of stupidity in the world. It serves too many purposes, it's baked too deeply into our systems. Trying to fight it head-on is a losing battle.
The real fight isn't out there against everyone else. It's in here, for yourself. Your job isn't to fix the world. It's to protect your own mind. It's to hold on to your own ability to think for yourself in a world that is constantly, from every angle, pushing you to just stop. And really, it's that simple. And that unbelievably difficult. In a world that rewards thoughtlessness, probably the most rebellious, the most important thing you can do is just keep thinking. So yeah, stupidity is probably a permanent feature of our world. It's built into our biology and our societies. But your participation in it, that's not. You get a choice. And in the end, that's the only thing that really matters.